QuaranJazz. Listen while you're home. Hello and welcome to the 26th episode of QuaranJazz, your weekly update on what jazz musicians from all over the world are doing during this crazy year of 2020. A year that seems to be always about to start, but then again, let's see. I'm Geisa Fernandes, singer, songwriter and music researcher from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Is it your first time in QuaranJazz? Really? No, where have you been? Well, I would definitely recommend you to check the links in the description of this episode. You will find, for instance, a link to my webpage, geisafernandes.com, where you can find more about my work and other podcasts that I do. If you've been listening to QuaranJazz and enjoy the show, then I would recommend you to join my mailing list for regular content. And if you are a jazz musician and you'd like to share your stories here in the show, drop me a line. I really would like to know what you're doing, if you are releasing new material or if you took this time to do non-music related activities. QuaranJazz, as a musical portrait, is also a kind of document of representation of these crazy days we're living, and every story matters. But QuaranJazz is not only about talking, it's also about music, jazz music, and to make it easier for you to get all the songs played during the episodes at once, we created a Spotify playlist, QuaranJazz, the playlist on Spotify.
No talk. All jazz.
Let's check one of this week's updates. There you go.
But true, dear, when I'm close to you, dear, the stars fill the sky, so without you, my arms fold about you. You know, darling, why so in love with you am I, in love with the night, mysterious, the night when you first were there, in love with the joy delirious, when I knew that you could care. So taunt me and haunt me, deceive me, desert me.
What do you think? Isn't it beautiful? You just got a taste from So In Love, one of the tracks from the new album of this week's guest in QuaranJazz. And my guest this week is vocalist Noa Levy. Originally from Israel, but currently based in San Francisco, USA, Noa is releasing a new album, a very interesting project. She will tell us all about it. Hi Noa, thank you so much for being part of QuaranJazz. Thank you. So Noa, as usual here in the show, I ask my guests to introduce themselves briefly, talk about the kind of music they do, their current projects. In your case, I know that you have lots of very interesting stories about your new album, so tell us all about it.
Hello. I'm very happy to be here and to get the opportunity to discuss my music. Thank you so much for offering this wonderful podcast. So my name is Noa Levy. I am originally from Israel, and I'm now based in San Francisco, California. And I'm here to talk about my latest album. It's a collaboration with a Japanese bass player. His name is Shimpei Ogawa. So our story is kind of cool. We're both expats, kind of new to the San Francisco scene, and very different cultures. The Israeli culture is very different from the Japanese culture, and somehow when we met, we really clicked, and even though the language was a barrier, we found a common language with music, and after working together for a while, we decided to collaborate on an album, the result of which I'd like to share with you today. It's been a kind of a fun journey to work on the arrangements. We decided to do it just the two of us, our two instruments. So this is I'm a vocalist, so myself on voice and Shimpei on bass, and we took the opportunity to discover all the ways in which we can stretch our instruments and find creative ways to use it, different sounds, new techniques. Every arrangement we tried to implement a different style that we learned or something that we were improving our instruments and really trying to create interesting ways to have these conversations between the low end of the bass and the female voice. We were excited. We chose the songs of Cole Porter because he's such a masterful songwriter. He created such beautiful melodies, wrote very smart, clever lyrics, and then on top he had very interesting harmonies and quite different from the style of the time. A lot of the tunes he was using he was using unusual forms, minor keys, I mean. Our album is called You, Me, and Cole, and the funny thing that happened on the way to releasing this album is very much related to COVID-19 crisis and the quarantine.
First of all, I love the format bass and voice. I think it's beautiful. It's timeless. Love it. Now, Cole Porter is great. Cole Porter is something special. It's phenomenal. He was a great storyteller, and the lyrics, amazing, as you said, very intelligent. You listen to Cole Porter's songs, and they always sound so fresh and updated, and they always sound very elegant. A real genius. And Noah, how did the corona crisis impact the album release and its release tour?
We were going to release and go on tour June 2020. And when COVID hit, especially in the US around March, slowly we realized that our plans were going to have to change. We thought long and hard and deliberated a lot about whether or not to go ahead and release the album. And finally, we decided to go through with it. But unfortunately, we had to cancel our release show and cancel our tour. And so we've been greatly impacted by that. And we were trying to make lemons out of lemonade and do a lot of as much as we can online, trying to collaborate and really reach out to more musicians and more podcasts and blogs like yourself, and doing the best that we can. And actually we found that people were so responsive, and in fact, maybe everybody is at home and they can't go to gigs, but they're actually doing a lot to try and support musicians and attending live streams, and also just by listening to music, supporting, sending feedback. We really, really appreciate it, and we've been greatly surprised.
I'm so glad to hear that, because this is a movement that we should always highlight, the way that both artists and fans are trying to readapt themselves to this messy situation. Very, very glad that you are getting this feedback. And how is the current situation in San Francisco concerning lockdown, social distancing measures, well, the new normal, so to speak?
It is the new normal. In San Francisco, there is still shelter in place in the sense that venues and any kind of bars or restaurants or even hairdressers, salons just basically closed. They've been closed since March, and these are a lot of people who are really struggling right now. And so us musicians, we are trying to adapt and understanding, we missed summer season, which is the peak of touring and performing and private events, and everybody's understanding that it's going to be like this for at least a couple more months. So my plans are to try and collaborate as much as I can with musicians all over the world that I met actually throughout this period from being much more present online and collaborating. And so I look forward to that. I met people from Norway, I met people from Brazil, I met people in Argentina, in Chile. It's really wonderful. I'm so much excited for the opportunities that this global pandemic actually connected us and brought collaboration options, and people are very open and friendly.
That's the spirit, girl. I like that. And Noa, our listeners, they had the opportunity of getting a taste from one of the tracks of your album, So in Love. Beautiful. And I would like you to tell us a little bit about this track and also about the other track, the one that you've selected for us to listen in full.
So first of all, I'd like to say this is a great idea, and I really appreciate you creating this Spotify playlist just so that I can get a chance to listen to all the incredible artists that you've showcased in the podcast so far. So thank you. That's super awesome. And this track that I chose for the playlist out of our album Yumi and Cole is called So in Love. So just a reminder, we are doing our album is a voice and bass duo album that's all about Cole Porter and featuring his work. And this is such a beautiful song, a beautiful ballad from Kiss Me Kate. And I've always loved it. And it was one of the first clear ideas that I had for the arrangement of the tune for just our two instruments. As I was brainstorming, how can we create something unique as a conversation between our two instruments, I was reminded or I was looking for inspiration for other two voice compositions, and immediately I thought of Bach. And so we thought of doing a sort of like an invention like arrangement where Shimpei sort of outlined an arpeggiated bass line inspired by Bach's style, and while I was singing the melody. And the other cool music geek trick to find is that we're sort of changing the meter there and going into double time in the bridge so as to create diversity, because keeping the ear of the listener engaged while just listening to two instruments is a big task. So we wanted to keep diversifying the track. So I hope you'll enjoy it. This is So in Love by Cole Porter, arranged by Shimpei Ogawa, who's the bass player, and myself, Noa Levy. And I hope you're gonna like the song that I chose to play for you all today. We chose a very famous classic Cole Porter song. It's called Anything Goes. It's from a famous musical, Kiss Me Kate. And this song is an arrangement we worked on, and we implemented a very cool samba groove that's in 5/4, and we're kind of switching meters, which was very fun to work on and kind of trying to discover how to do that with the lyrics. And the other kind of cool thing is that while researching about the song and the lyrics, I realized that some of the words are very, out of date. And instead of, at the time, the song was so fresh and kind of like talking about the news of the day. So I chose to update some of the lyrics and make my own verses. And which is important because as musicians, it's important to express what we think about the current affairs. So I hope you'll catch that. And so I hope you'll enjoy. And it's been such a great pleasure. And thank you for the opportunity. I look forward to listening to the next episodes. Again, my name is Noa Levy. You can find me on Spotify, on Facebook, Noa Levy Live, or on my website, noalevylive.com. And Shimpei Ogawa is the bass player name. And here we go. Anything goes.
All right. Thank you, Noa. Thank you very much for your participation in QuaranJazz. Congratulations for a new album. It's really beautiful. I'm sure it's going to have a beautiful life as well. Now the best. And this was the 26th episode of QuaranJazz. Thank you, dear listener, for staying with us. It's always a pleasure to know that you are on the other side, listening to the weekly updates on what's happening on the jazz scene during the year of 2020. I'm Geisa Fernandes, singer and songwriter from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And if you want to keep the jazz running, you have several ways to contact me. They are all listed in the description of this episode. Visit my webpage, geisafernandes.com, to find out more about my work and about other podcasts that I produce. And don't forget, if you're a jazz musician and would like to tell your stories here in QuaranJazz, drop me a line or subscribe to my mailing list and get free regular content. Another way to contact me is through Facebook. I've created and managed a group there calling the Touring Jazz Musician. The group is named after a guide I wrote on jazz festivals that accept submissions directly from artists, open submission processes. The group is called the Touring Jazz Musician on Facebook. Join the discussion and keep yourself informed about jazz festivals with open submission processes. QuaranJazz is also a proud participant of the Social Distancing Festival. The link to this incredible page with many artworks produced during the year of 2020 will also be in the description of this episode. My dear listener, it's time to bid you farewell. Thank you very much for staying with us. Till next week. And now, ladies and gents, anything goes.
Olden days, a glimpse of stalking was looked on as something shocking. Now, heaven knows, anything goes. Good authors too, who once knew better words, now only use for letter words, writing prose. Anything goes. The world has gone mad today, and good's bad today, and black's white today, and day's night today, when most guys today that women price today are just silly gigolos. So though you're not a great romancer, I know that you're bound to answer when I propose. Anything goes. In election time, the U.S. president blackmails the Ukraine government. We all know anything goes. If Cary Grant and Spencer Tracy have turned into Kevin Spacey and Russell Crowe's, anything goes. If driving fast cars you like, if low bars you like, if old hymns you like, if bare limbs you like, if Make West you like, or me undressed you like, why nobody will oppose. When every night the set that's smart is intruding in nudist parties in studios, anything goes. Anything goes. days a glimpse of stalking was looked on as something shocking. Now heaven knows anything goes. Good authors too who once knew better words now only use four-letter words, writing prose. Anything goes. Just think of the stress you've got from those texts you've got, and those blues you've got from fake news you've got, and those pains you've got, if any brains you've got, from those tweets and all those blogs. And while we hope all days are sunny, while Amazon takes our money, 'cause Siri knows anything goes. La la la, la la la, la la la, la la la. La la la, la la la, la la la. La la la, la la la, la la la. La la la.
QuaranJazz. Listen while you're home. QuaranJazz, a podcast by Geisa Fernandes.